All right, here we go. We ain't gonna start just yet, but hello, welcome to the Playmakers Corner podcast. I'm your host for today, Simon Villanos, aka Coach V, and I'm back on Twitch. It's been a while. I had to take care of some job stuff, but I'm just happy to be back and get to break down the film of some excellent quarterbacks here. Honestly, some quarterbacks that are real underrated, not only in Colorado or Arizona, but in the entire country. Period. Honestly, I'm surprised not more D1s have offered because I think once those offers start flowing, it's gonna be going. So you gotta be ready. But I'm really excited to talk about these two players. Let me go ahead and chill out for a minute though, and wait for everyone else to hop into this live stream here. But yeah, so let's give it a minute and whatnot. I know people will be joining here soon. Let me get this title right though. Did start a little early as well, so I ain't tripping about it. So we'll give a couple minutes, or maybe not a couple minutes. We'll give it a minute or two, wait for some people to come in, and then we'll get started here. Honestly, I'm not sure which quarterback I'm going to start with first. I've looked at both of their films already. One of them I've seen live a couple of times. And the other one, I got to see his film like earlier this week. And I watched a bit of it, but I didn't watch the whole thing. So I'm really excited to just get to, chop it up, look at these great quarterbacks and talk about it. Because at first sight, they look real good. Gotta be honest with you, they look really good. Film breakdowns. There we go. Change the title. Alright. Got the music going. Sweet. I think we're in a pretty good spot here, so let's go ahead and get started here. You know what? I think I'm going to go ahead and start with the Colorado talent here in Jazel Riley. I think there are some things I want to talk about here real quick. While it's fresh in my mind, I have seen this kid play. Okay, I've seen him do sevens, so that's all right. And I've seen him work out and do all that great stuff, do a combine when he was at Team Full Gorilla at those tryouts. So I've seen this dude live. I've met the guy, and I've also been following Jazel Riley here since last fall, about week 3. I want to say is when I messaged him about week 3 because his Golden team was killing it. To start out the regular season and really just the entire season. It was a historical season for Golden High School up there, and Jazel Riley was a big part of that. No doubt about that. But yeah, let's go ahead and start with Jazel Riley here, and then we'll get to Richard Stallworth here in a minute. Let me go ahead and miniaturize myself. All right. Let's look at his Twitter first, because that's always a little telling here. Let me move my box to the right here. All right. Hey, go ahead and give Jazel Riley a follow on Twitter. Recently, he did just become a 3-star quarterback, so he's getting a little bit of recognition. I wanted to do a film breakdown just so that I could compare it to next year's, because he's probably going to make our top 5 seniors list in Colorado. And so I really just wanted to get a film breakdown done and just get it out there. Just get it out there and be like, all right, here we go. This is where he started, and then hopefully we'll see some improvements from junior to senior year. But Jazel Riley, out of Golden High School, he's a class of 2023 quarterback, Golden here in Colorado. This year, I believe, was his first year starting on varsity. He sat out last year, that 2020 season, which, if you're going to sit out a year, that is definitely okay, because that was a shortened one anyways. And so, here we go. This last season was his first season as the varsity starter. 6'2", 206. He might be closer to 210. I did see a couple other things as well, but this dude is built. like standing next to dude, I'm like, dang, bro, he's built like a safety linebacker type. I was talking with Ryan Wesley. Shout out to Prep Red Zone Coach West, and he said the same thing. He looks like a next level player just by looking at his body, right? But he's legitimately a 6'2", 206 type for sure, and he's a big dude. He's a big dude at quarterback, which I don't know if I necessarily expected when I first saw him, but definitely a good pleasant surprise if you're a guy that's recruiting a quarterback. There's always going to be injury issues if they're a little bit smaller or lankier or whatever, but he's definitely filled out, and he's only a junior, so you could definitely get bigger as well. So there you go, 6'2", 206, 3.7 GPA. Love to see that. Takes care of business in the classroom. So coaches, you don't have to worry about this kid messing around and doing all that stuff. This 40-yard time is the most updated one. He did go to the Elite 11 in Vegas, I want to say, which ironically is where Richard Stallworth went as well. So maybe they already met, which would be wild. But he was there as well. But at the Elite 11, he did get a couple measurables, which I'll pull up here in a second. But 4.62 40, that is pretty good here for a quarterback. You could definitely run just a little bit, And obviously, like I said, this last year was his first year as a starter, but first team all-conference, OPOY MVP, all that great stuff, and he definitely deserved it. Like, this dude was killing it in his first year as a starter for this Golden High School team. And, some people out of, the state of Colorado, because I know we do have viewers today that are out of the state of Colorado, they may not be super familiar with Colorado football and all that, and that's okay. But Golden High School, just in general, is not necessarily a powerhouse, mind you. If anything, they're like, a good season would probably be going 500. Obviously, Jazel Riley got them over 500 and a little bit more as well. So, there you go. As of right now, I don't believe he has any offers. Here's some pictures from the Elite 11, all that great stuff. But he doesn't have any offers, has visited a couple of different spots. As you see here, he is a 3-star here. Let me see if I could pull this up and make it a little bit bigger here. He is a 3-star, according to 24/7. So you love to see that. Finally got ranked. And this was after he went to the Elite 11, so that's pretty big time here. And I might as well bring up this graphic from the Elite 11 here. So this is something that he got. Make it a little bit smaller here. And there's some interesting numbers on here for sure. So I'm sure every Elite 11 player gets it, but he did a pretty good job, there. This is his rating, 109.47. To compare that to other people, national record 154.47, about averages an 88, and so you can look at all these numbers here. For those of you who don't know what the Elite 11 is, the Elite 11 is basically a camp for quarterbacks. All the best quarterbacks in the country go to this thing. I know there's some crazy stat about Elite 11 MVPs. Usually those guys are like first rounders in the NFL. Coming out of college and all that stuff. And so you got your guys. You have all the guys listed here. Mac Jones, Lamar, Hurts. These are kind of like the guys that improved throughout high school and college and got to where they're at. So maybe their Elite 11 ranking wasn't as accurate, but they still did a pretty solid. You have to have some sort of potential to put up these numbers anyways. And then you have guys like Justin Fields, Mariota, Zach Wilson, Tua. They excelled at the Elite 11. They did a good job. And, they're still doing their thing in the NFL. They're NFL-level quarterbacks. And so that's kind of just to give a quick explanation there. But the Elite 11, and if you're a good quarterback, you succeed there. And Jazel Riley, he definitely succeeded. His rating, once again, was a 109.47. This is how it stacks up against those. I know, I want to say it's Trent Dilfer and all those guys out there that be running this thing. So I'm not gonna dispute Trent Dilfer, obviously, because this dude knows what he's doing. So yeah, there you go there. But so that's the scores from the Elite 11. Let me move this thing up just a little bit here. Some other measurables. So 4.62 40, 36-inch vertical is wild. You have your agility, shuttle, power ball, bunch of that stuff. So there you go. Listed at 195. I think this was last week. So that's interesting. You know, he definitely looks a little bit heavier than 195. His playing weight is probably above that for sure. So there you go. That's Jazel Riley. You know, I just wanted to show off his Twitter here just for a minute. You know, obviously he has some pretty good numbers and whatnot. Oh, and then real quick, let me bring up his stats actually. But obviously he had some pretty good athletic numbers. I mean, this dude is, I'd probably say he's a dual threat, I would say. He's probably a dual threat. I mean, you'll look at his numbers right here soon. And so let's scroll down a bit. Here we go. So first year, he did have 2 playoff games. So these 2 right here versus Cheyenne Mountain. That was the first playoff game that Golden won in like 20 years, 19 years technically, but basically 2 decades. So that was huge, you know, getting that dub, and a pretty big one too. Not that it was unexpected. And then we have the infamous Fountain for Carson game. I think I chose Jazel Riley to win this one, and then I went to this game, and I mean, this Fountain for Carson defense was absolutely insane. Only had that 1 interception, which was on a hitch route. I know that for sure. And whatever corner was out there was sitting on it. And I mean, Fountain for Carson, they have great defensive players. They have 3 corners, senior corners, make our top 5 senior list. And I know we got a lot of flack about it for some reason, but that's just disrespect towards the south side of Colorado. And so, I mean, those guys could obviously play. Obviously. So I'm not even concerned about that. This game was actually, like, as far as ceiling goes, I was like, okay, this Fountain for Carson team is way better than this Golden team as a group, you know. But for Jazel Riley to only have 1 turnover, still go 9 of 18, so 50%. It's not too bad. You know, I would take that as a first-year starter and the first time in the playoffs. That's pretty dang good. I'm going to be honest with you. So, there you go. On the season, though, here we go. 2,085 passing yards, 25 touchdowns, 10 interceptions here. As far as rushing goes, he was used kind of a lot as a rusher. Oh, I didn't pass it. Here we go. So, there you go. 103 carries, which is kind of a lot for a quarterback, but that's okay. 973 yards, then 17 rushing touchdowns. So his first year as a starter, he had, I want to make sure I get this right, 37 total touchdowns on the season, which is pretty good here. So lots of like definitely stuff the stat sheet here. Had a couple big games in general. I want to say he won Playmaker of the Week at least once here. But this Broomfield game was big. I considered it an upset, basically, so that was huge there. Against Celebrity, he really went crazy. Well, running the ball. I felt like he went crazy with the amount of reps he got. Only had 6 attempts here. Still had 2 touchdowns. And then rushing-wise, he only had 2 carries. Oh, I think that's helicopter out there. That's okay, though. Then you have some games against Chatfield, who did win state, by the way, on the 4A level. Only lost to them by 1 point. I believe Mason Austin was there. And then you have this Dakota Ridge game. I believe Dakota Ridge won their conference. And so this was a good one as well, which I believe Mason Austin was also at. You know, not too bad of games. I mean, he really kept this Golden team into both of these. Let me show these rushing stats here. 81 yards against Chatfield. Very good defense, by the way. Touchdown. Against Dakota Ridge, who has a lot of athletes. 202 rushing yards. Oh my God. And then a very casual hat trick when it comes to rushing touchdowns. At the same time, also threw 485 yards on a touchdown. Did throw a pick, though. So, very good stats for Jazel Riley in his first year as a starter. You know, you got, if you're a Jazel Riley, you kind of got to be happy with how this first year you went, you know, but going to next year, you definitely want to improve. And we'll talk about next year here in a minute, but let's go ahead and you know, react to his highlight reel here. And so this will be a raw reaction, about 7 minutes. We'll look at the whole thing, react to some great plays, and then I'll probably also be doing some grading as well here, which I'll talk about later. But yeah, all right, let me get my box out of the way. Let's get this thing going. Yeah, we'll go right here. How about that? Alright, so let's see it. Definitely some plays I'm looking forward to watching here. Oh, this one's against Liberty. Oof. Liberty is not a good team. But I'm glad he still hit this throw, though. This was a perfect time throw here. Little post route. I think this is the same thing, basically. It's just a little bit better covered. Still a good throw, though. Ooh. Okay. Oh! Made those two guys run into each other. He's got some agility showing off here. He's a strong dude. Like I said, he's not a small quarterback at all. He's a pretty strong dude, so he's hard to tackle. You know, he at least was at 200 pounds when he was playing this season. So he could definitely, he could bang down low just a little bit. Oof, that's his playoff game. Still a good throw, though. Not bad. He could have aimed towards a little bit more towards the sideline there, but that's okay. Good blitz pickup by the running back. Sorry, I just noticed that, but a good delivery as well. Oh, in stride, yep. Relatively in stride. Ooh, that was an accurate pass. I remember seeing that one. Oh, is he gonna make it? Yep, just barely. Okay, okay. Like I said, he got wheels, man. 4.6 40. That's not bad. Obviously, he's not a running back, you know. So it's not like the 40-yard dash matters that much. In general, it doesn't matter that much anyways. But he definitely got some wheels, man. He could burn you. That deep ball is definitely there for him, too. His throwing power is special for sure. I got to see it live, and it's special. I'll tell you that. You could definitely stretch out defenses, which will be interesting going into this next season here. Oh, here we go. He's running. Oh, and he's out of there. Just had to move the box there. Yep, he is out of there. Great timing. Good accuracy, too. Another fountain for Carson highlight. Okay, okay. Oh, I remember this one, too. This was early on in the game when I still felt like Golden had a chance. But this was just a great play. Could have put it a little bit farther. A little bit. That was a little risky. It was still the right read because the receiver had to step on the DB, but I kind of wish he pushed that just a little bit farther. That safety had time to get over there. He just, I mean, he wasn't a good safety. He didn't make the play, obviously, so. Okay. Now that was real nice here. We'll see that play here in a minute. But that was real nice here. I believe this was like, it looks like an out route. It is an out route. It's a pretty deep one here because this is the line of scrimmage. Well, it's like 10, 12 yards. But this is a good throw. Really good timing. Quarterback's on it. He is literally looking at Jazel Riley here. But this is just a real good throw. Route could have been a little bit better, to be honest with you. Definitely a little bit of a sloppy route. But just a good, good play here. Just a good play. Way to put it into space is really all I could say here. Let me look at this one more time, actually. Allow your receiver to go get it as well. But yeah, no, that's a good play by Jazel. Oh, roll up. Do I remember? Yep. Could have set your feet and delivered that one, but that's okay. This is a good throw here over the middle. Quick little slant. And you have to be quick because you know Ty Fave is waiting to light somebody up. Oh, this is just open. Go get that first down. Go get more. Shoot. Go get more. Go get more. I like it. I think he really was just trying to get the first down, but hey, if you go give him space, go get them yards, man. You can't give him space. You gotta actually tackle this quarterback. No arm tackles either, because he'll break him. Nice. Perfect throw there. Oh, another rollout here. Oh, a little low. Receiver definitely had to make a play on it, but it still got there. That's okay. Oh, this was effortless. Really just drop back and flick that wrist. Good throw. Another one of those type of throws as well. Jeez, man, he really tried. He really tried. Good vision for a quarterback. I'm watching him run, and he has real good vision. Because some quarterbacks really just be, I don't know, but that vision is not there. Yep, you gotta make him pay for that. That safety has to come out late. Put that on the line. Get it to your guy. Oh, I really... Okay. Okay. This was not a bad play at all, but I really wish he stepped up just a little bit. That could have been like a 10 or 15-yard loss. Oh, he took a hit on this one. Good placement. Good throw. Way to stick in there, too. Man, makes it look easy, man. Oh, took another hit. That's a good delivery. Let's look at that real quick just one more time here. That was just a real good delivery of this ball. Was it the edge rusher that was coming up? Yep, it was this one right here. Ideally, I'm going to nitpick just a little bit here because I definitely can. Would love for him to just step up here. I know this lineman is kind of turned around, which is probably why he did it, but maybe just a little bit earlier here, let's see. Right here, you step up. You know, go ahead and take a step up, buy yourself an extra moment. Because he definitely, it's a good ball. It's definitely a good ball, but you want to, just in case, buy yourself some extra time. On the next level, I mean, a half second, whatever, that'll mean the difference between a gain and a turnover. Which sounds pretty harsh, but it's true. You know, you're going to have faster edge rushers, and you're going to have corners that are paying attention. You know, that are going to be a little bit better here. But, you know, protect that ball, man. You don't want to take a 5-yard, well, even with the drop back, because you're in shotgun, then you're dropping back. You don't want to take a 7-yard loss, just in case. You know, take that extra step and then deliver. I really can't complain about it because he still completed it. Like I said, you know, nitpicking just a little bit. Zero coverage, so that's a man-to-man. Fade backside. Let's see it. Oh, he's just wide open on this. Would have liked it to be a little bit farther. Like, just let it go, man. Let your receivers go get it. I know. I'm going to... Okay, here, let me pause this. I'm going to look at the camera for this. Golden receivers, I'm not trying to throw shade at you, but you ain't Cherry Creek receivers. So I understand if, you know, there's some underthrows and whatnot, but, I mean, you just got to let it go. I'd rather probably see an overthrow than an underthrow most of the time. I say that as this receiver gets great separation and catches it, though. So it's not like they're horrible, but not as good as they could be. Is this... Oh, that was to the receiver. Okay. Well, obviously it was to a receiver, just not the inside one like I thought it was. That was a good job stepping up and delivering. Perfect on that. Like that. Okay. So yeah, a lot of things to like for sure. I mean, obviously the stats are there. Here, I should have actually just replayed this. I'll replay here. The stats are definitely there. I mean, this dude is good at football. He could run it as well. I think if you're a next level coach, you look at that, and I mean, you look at where offenses, modern college offenses, and NFL offenses are going. You gotta have a running back. You gotta have a quarterback that's mobile, not a running back. You really don't need a running back, to be honest with you. But if you have a quarterback that's mobile, and not just mobile, but somebody that like could probably get 500 rushing yards in a season, on the next level, it's pretty good. You can run a lot of different things here, and Jazel here, as you see on this first play, also has an arm. A real beautiful deep ball when he chooses to let it go, Just really good accuracy on some of these throws. But, yeah, I'm going to go ahead and start grading here. But, yeah, if you're a coach on the next level, I mean, the mobility, the athleticism itself in general should be enough to sell you. Plus, he's not like one of those shorter quarterbacks that are like great dual threats or whatever that you'll eventually move to receiver. He's a legitimate 6'2", 205, 210. So dude is built. He has your prototypical size for a quarterback and whatnot. And so, I mean, if you're a coach, you gotta love that, man. I mean, he's an athlete. He's not super short. I think you look at this kid and you're like, okay, I could do a lot with him. And honestly, when he's on fire, this dude is on fire. I'm telling you. There are some games and I did watch the live, but watching through game film and hearing what Mason had to say, because he was at a lot of these games, there are some games where this dude took his game to a whole new level and looked like the best quarterback in the country. Some games. And then there are some games like this Fountain Fort Carson game where, I mean, there wasn't too much he could do because of the situation he was in. But still, though, there are quarterbacks, that would have done maybe a little bit more. Maybe you want just a little bit more. Not a ton more, but just a little bit more out of your star quarterback. But, I mean, for the potential itself, this is probably a kid that most colleges would be like, okay, let me get a year or two, let me trust my own coaching. How about that for once? And let me see if I can make him into the star quarterback that he can be, that we saw him be for Golden this last year. And he's getting better, He was a one-year starter. Going into this next year, I'm gonna keep this separate of my actual film breakdown, but going into this next year, I'm a little worried. Golden, I don't believe, has a football coach right now. I don't think they did, because their head football coach left for Ralston Valley. So, going into next year, I'm concerned. There's definitely concerns about what offense they run, especially Colorado, because for some reason, Colorado teams, and I mean that I'm going to be closer to the mic here, Colorado teams are obsessed with the wing T for no reason. And it's like the stupidest thing. We look like the biggest bunch of suckers in the entire world because we have all these damn athletes. But, we go run wing T though. So, anyways, that's just a quick rant there. So, my biggest fear for Jazel Riley is that they bring in a stupid wing T coach or a run first coach. And I'm going to be honest, I'm going to call him stupid because when you have a quarterback like this, you can't be running it unless you're running it with him. But even then, you should have more passing attempts than rushing attempts because I feel like that's something that might happen. And so, as a recruiter, as somebody that's, like an outside source looking into this and following the situation closely, I am going to be interested in seeing how his senior year goes because I'm just going to say this right now. If they don't put him in the right situation to succeed, it's not going to be his fault. It's going to be the coach's fault. I'm going to be honest with you. There's not many ways you could really screw this up. But knowing Colorado coaching and whatnot and just kind of like the talent pool we have here, which isn't the biggest in general, there's definitely a little bit of concern. And so I'm going to throw that out there before I do the film breakdown because literally none of this has to do with Jazel Riley. Jazel Riley is such a good kid. Met the dude, nice guy. Everyone really does think he's a nice guy. Like everyone I talk to is like, man, that Jazel kid, he's a good dude. Like straight up. So it's not like his coach left for that. He went to probably a situation where he got paid a little bit more over at Ralston Valley. I'm not even going to lie. I don't blame him. I'm not salty about it. I don't think Jazel should be salty about it. And not that I'm saying he is, but as of right now, he is kind of in a tough situation where it's like, okay, how is the senior year going to look? And if he has lower numbers or doesn't do as well, how much of that is his fault compared to, the coaching staff? And so there's definitely a bit of pressure on the coaching staff here. And obviously on Jazel, because this is his senior year. He's a 1-year starter as of right now. And so college coaches, I mean, they're looking for him to have a good year. If he has a good year, then those offers are going to start rolling right at the end of the season. He could be one of those guys, honestly. So we'll just have to see, But here, let me go ahead and restart this highlight here. Boom. Okay. And then, actually here, before I start this highlight, this is what I'm going to do because this is the smart thing to do. Let me show y'all something real quick here. Okay. So, here's how we do film breakdowns. And this is how I'm going to grade Richard Stallworth as well. We got 10 categories. You got a rating 1 to 10 for each category. So I'll give you a number 1 to 10 for each category here. Shoot, I should have brought up the rubric. I'm going to be real simple here. About a 5, if I give you a 5 or a 5 to 7 on one of these ratings, you're about average. Probably closer, like you need more improvement to make it to the next level, but you're about average, you need improvement, right? There you go. So that's kind of what a 5 to 7 is. 7 to 8, that's above average, solid enough. It's something you do relatively well. On the next level, it might translate onto the D2, D3 level. It probably will, but that's not a certain thing, And so it's above average, but definitely something you should work on. 8 to 9, that's a pretty big range there, but, about an 8.5, my bad. An 8.5, if I give you an 8.5 on any of these categories here, or well, these 10 categories here, basically, I think you're on par with the 3-star, talent in the entire country. I think you're a 3-star talent at this specific category. Love that. But yeah, so I think you're a 3-star talent in this specific category. If I give you an 8.5 or even an 8 just in general, lower 8, below an 8.5, you're probably a lower 3-star. If you're 8.5 and above, you're a higher 3-star to 4-star type of guy, And then 9 to 10, not like low 9s, high 8s. If I give you that, then you're kind of in that 4-star talent range for this specific category, not just in general as a player. And then if you get a 9, which I'm real picky on, and Cody is even more picky, to be honest with you, but usually I'm pretty picky here, then, you're about 4-star, high 4-star, high 5-star, right? That's more, I would say, if I give you a 9 to close to a 10. So there you go. And then all together, we'll add up all these ratings here. About an 80 is a 3-star. If an overall rating, so adding up all these points, it comes out to an 80. You're about a 3-star, 94-star. Above a 95 is around a 5-star. But we'll see about that. So this is what I'm gonna grade. I'm gonna go ahead and play Jazel's film here and mute up while I give him some ratings, and then we'll come back and talk about it. So yeah, but let me go ahead and play this here just so y'all could watch, and then we'll come back here in a minute. All right, y'all. Let's get down to the nitty gritty here. So I graded, not we, but I graded Jazel Riley here. I was pretty tough because I've seen this dude play. I've seen him throw. I haven't seen him play. I think going into next year, I need to see him play to fill out a couple more of these and feel like super duper comfortable with it, which I will. When it comes to top 5 senior rankings in the state of Colorado, I take those very seriously. Everyone here on the podcast does. I think that's something that some players are like, oh, y'all don't know what you're doing and all this stuff, and that's fine. You can think that, but we go to multiple games to evaluate players live. And on top of having access to some full games, some highlights, and all that. So we do a lot of research, and we I can't talk. We rewatch some of those. We go to these off-season workouts to see some of these players work out in person, and it's to help our evaluation when it comes to these senior things. And so there you go. I'm just going to throw that out there. But definitely some room for improvement here, but I do think he's a very talented quarterback. And so let's go ahead and hop into this. I'm going to keep this highlight playing, actually, because I think that makes the most sense here. And then I'm going to talk about the grades. I will give the final grade here at the end and show the rubric for that. All right, so remember, each category, you could get a rating 1 out of 10, and then, your overall rating is that of 100, obviously. So let's start with arm power. I'm very sure of this rating. Now, it could go up by a point or two. It just depends, but I gave him a 9.3. Yeah. I'm not going to change it right now. I gave him a 9.3 for arm power, and I'm pretty sure about it. I've seen this dude sling it in person, throw a couple different routes and whatnot, and it's there. I mean, for Jazel Riley, it's a flick of the wrist, and it'll go 60 yards downfield or something crazy like that and be accurate. Or, he's going to go ahead and flip it to not here. I thought this was going to be one of those plays that just played out here. Maybe this one against Fanciful Carson is. Nope. Okay. But you could also throw it short as well, is what I'm trying to say. Fit into some pretty tight spots. I'm not concerned about this dude's arm power. You got to also keep in mind he plays for Golden High School. Their home stadium. It gets pretty windy, And then going, some of the teams they play as well, it gets pretty windy, and so his arm power is obviously strong enough to cut through some of those strong winds here in Colorado. And here in the Rockies, it does get a little crazy at times, and so I am not concerned about this dude's arm power. I think it's a 9.3. I think it's about on par with a lot of 4-star, 5-star guys, quarterbacks around the country. As far as arm power goes, I'm just going to say that. Now, when it comes to arm accuracy, definitely have a little bit of concerns, but I still gave him a pretty solid 8. Now, here's the thing with accuracy. I think there are definitely times where, he's compensating to the athletes he has around him. Like I said, Golden, they're not really known as a football school. They have some guys out there, but I wouldn't necessarily say they have any receivers or skill players right now that are D1 guys. You have a lot of guys that, you kind of just work with what you got. They're going to work hard, and they're going to do their thing. And so, like I said, I'm not trying to roast them or anything like that. I'm just talking reality here. And so I think he's definitely adjusting to a little bit of that skill level, which is why he's throwing some of these balls a little bit shorter, why he's throwing some of these like a little late. It kind of feels like at times, so it looks like the ball is a little bit behind. But regardless, the receivers still come up with the ball because they have like a step or two on their DBs. Now, when I did watch him at the Team Full Gorilla tryouts, you could definitely tell that, there are some issues there. Now, I don't think he's an inaccurate quarterback. I do think he's someone that you probably need to kind of get into rhythm to get going early on, which kind of goes for most quarterbacks, but for Jazel Riley here, the fourth, by the way, which I haven't been saying the fourth part, but for Jazel Riley here, I really think he's somebody that, you want to kind of get into a rhythm. It would be kind of tough taking deep shots early on unless they're wide open. And so, I mean, you got to work towards your quarterback strengths. I think just the reason why it's at an 8 and not higher, and honestly, it could even be lower than an 8. I seriously thought about putting it in the 7s. It's just consistency. I feel like consistency is a little all over the place. There are times where he's going to throw a beautiful ball, perfect placement. Not being perfect placement. And then there are times where it's like, it's underthrown, or it's overthrown, or it's a little off, here and there. And so consistency is really what I'm looking for going into his senior year. So there you go. Timing on throws, I gave him a 7. My biggest thing with that is consistency. I don't think Jazel Riley is an inaccurate quarterback. I think he's someone that probably needs to work on his timing just a little bit more here. And so, with that being said, to show off that timing, arm accuracy, the stuff I'm talking about right now, I want to see him throw comeback routes consistently in rhythm. Out routes, for sure, in rhythm. Dig routes, that's a big one that requires good timing and obviously accuracy. That'll be big. Post corners, not many teams run those, but if he does have that chance to throw that ball, and it's open and it's the right read, I would love to see it. And so those are just a couple routes I'm throwing out there that I really look at when evaluating timing, accuracy, all that stuff. Just a couple. I'm not going to say all of them right here, but I think I really want to see those because on his film, just looking at his film and looking throughout some games, he goes deep a lot, and that's great, but I would like to see him really work that medium game. If he could be a master of that medium game, and I'm talking like medium routes like 10, 15 plus to like 20, 25. Okay, there you go. I could bump up these grades obviously quite a bit here, but I just need to see it though. That's the biggest thing. So there you go. Overall mechanics and fluidity. Gotta shout out his dad. Great quarterback coach, by the way. Jazel Riley is not. Jazel Riley the fourth is not coached by a like one of those expensive quarterback coaches like Jenkins Elite. That'll charge you too much money, to be honest with you. He's coached by his dad, and his dad did a good job. I have not found anything wrong with his mechanics. Saw it in person. I think it's pretty good for the most part here. And I'm pretty tough on mechanics, which is pretty rare that I'm pretty willing to give this grade. But I'm going to give him a 9. Definitely has, some... I would say he definitely has like a little bit of like he could be at a 9.2 or 3. It could be a little bit higher, but I think a 9 for now is a solid rating for how much I've seen this dude play. And so I'm not going to give him a bigger grade if I haven't seen this dude play as much as I'd want to when it comes to evaluating certain things. And so I think a 9 is pretty good, pretty smooth release, quick release. If anything, I'm mostly watching his lower body, seeing if his feet are set. And there are times where it's a little inconsistent. You could clean that up in an off season. Really, in a couple weeks, that's just a habits thing, and you'll be fine. Overall, though, mechanics is not an issue at all. He is a D1 guy when it comes to mechanics, for sure. So, easy there. Decision-making skills. Gave him an 8.7. I think this is a very solid grade for him. Even when Fountain Fort Carson was bringing the heat, showing him different looks, his receivers were not getting open because, they just have better corners. Jazel Riley still made good decisions. Now, if you look at the stat sheet, it's going to say 9 of 18 and a pick. But the way this Fountain Fort Carson defense was getting pressure, blanketing receivers, putting them in tough situations like third and longs, second longs, stuff like that, Jazel Riley did a very good job. I got to give him a lot of credit for this, man. He did an excellent job against arguably one of the best defenses in the entire country, And so I'm very high on his decision making. Sorry, I can't talk right now. On his decision making, it's not higher just because, look, there are close games, and I'm going off of stats, ironically here, but there are close games that he had against Dakota Ridge, Chatfield, where he did have a turnover in those games, and in those games, you lost by a score. If you didn't have the turnover, maybe you would have won. Barely, but maybe you would have won. And so I'm like I said, I'm being a little nitpicky here, but I want to see how he continues to get better from a mental aspect, student of the game going forward. But right now, I mean, he's not going to do too much here. He's going to stay within his reads. He does a good job going through reads and whatnot. And I like it, you know. I do think he does have a little bit of a, I'm saying a little bit, but he definitely has a little bit of arrogance at times. Like, there are some plays where he's doing a little bit too much, like fading backwards in the pocket, or like trying to just keep a play alive for as long as possible, or, you know, just not taking the check down in front of you and trying to wait it out like here and take a, you know, deeper shot, which works out. But you could still clean up that game, tune up that game just a little bit more. But for a first-year varsity starter, this is pretty good. You know, this is pretty good. But, yeah, I think he's right on par with some 3 stars, high 3 stars, low 4 stars around the country when it comes to decision-making. From what I've seen so far, which isn't the biggest, you know, sample size, mind you. So there you go. Scramble ability, gave him the same grade, 8.7. I mean, he's not Lamar Jackson. He's not Kyler Murray. You know, he's not like a 4-4. Really, well, Kyler, I got to see him in person and compete against him. Kyler's like a 4-3, probably close to 4-2 type of guy when he's right. You know, when he's, you know, out of shape, he's probably closer to a 4-4. And I could confirm that. Lamar is probably the same deal. Jazel Riley here, he's not those guys, but he's still got wheels. You know, 4.6, that's not bad. You know, you could gain 5 to 10 yards a pop, you know, on the next level, not on this level, but on the next level, the college level. And so, you know, he can definitely run a little bit here. I think the biggest thing going for him as a scrambler is that he's a big dude at quarterback. Like, you have to wrap up with him. You can't arm tackle. He can't do any of that stuff because he'll hit you with a little stiff arm, because he does have kind of a nice stiff arm, and he's also agile as well. And so he'll catch you with a quick one, you know, if you're not paying attention, and just hit you with that. You know, and he's a strong dude. You know, he's a strong dude, runs relatively low and whatnot. And so he's going to break tackles. That's just what he's going to do. There are some football players that are just going to break tackles. And so he's just very good at that. I wouldn't necessarily, like I said, I wouldn't call him like super elite at it, but he's pretty good. So I think an 8.7 is fair. Throwing the run ability, honestly didn't see too much of this. Saw a couple rollouts. That's fine. You know, but I gave him a 7.6. Would like to see how, you know, his throw on the run accuracy is when it comes to throwing deep and throwing some of these medium routes, because you just didn't really see a lot of those, honestly. So there you go. But 7.6. Pocket awareness, 8.6. I think he knows that pressure is coming at him. I mean, look at this play right here. He knows that the pressure is coming, but he's pretty poised in the pocket. You know, and I think part of that is because he knows what's around him. He's aware. And so 8.6, I think, is pretty solid. Now, I'm not going to lie. There are times where maybe it looks like he's a little oblivious to the pressure, but he knows that he's going to go ahead and anchor down and throw from the pocket. You know, that's a decision he already made, but he's not quite like he's not, you know, reacting to the pressure as efficiently as he could. I think there are times where, you know, he could step up, take a step up, or, you know, make small movements, efficient movements to buy yourself a little bit more time. And he doesn't quite do that. He'd rather kind of stick in the pocket and then, you know, make a perfect throw while getting smashed, you know. And so don't do that. You're already a running quarterback, or you're already a quarterback that can run, you know. You don't want to take unnecessary hits. So if you can buy yourself an extra half second and you have a quick release, so that's really all you need, then do it and then go deliver the ball, you know. Deliver a good one too. So there you go. Pocket movement, a little bit lower. Like I said, 7.7. I feel like he doesn't utilize this as much as he probably could. There are a lot of times where I feel like, hey, just take a step up and then release it. You know, buy yourself a half second more. Don't take that hit and then release it like he did just here, you know. Or do something. Make the guy miss and then go release it, you know. And so I think going into his senior year, I'd love to see him really work that pocket. Show that when it comes to working the pocket, he's a manipulator. You know, he's the ultimate manipulator. He's going to buy himself some time. He's going to make defensive guys mad because he's not like rolling all the way out or running all the way backwards or doing all this crazy stuff. He's taking very precise, and efficient movements, and he's killing you with that. And so I'd love to see him do that a little bit more here. Raymond size, I mean, you can look at what I give. You can look at the grades I give other guys. If you want to compare that, I gave him an 8.5. He's listed at 6'2", 206, weighed out at 198. Realistically, I think his playing weight is probably closer to 210. I'm just going to be honest with you. If it's not, then it's not. But he's a big dude. You know, he definitely passes the eye test. Like Coach West said, you know, he looks like a damn safety. So, or he looks like a good defense player out there at least. So there you go. Overall, adding on all of these ratings here, all this stuff, I gave him an 83.1, which is pretty good. That's about a 3-star, which is what he's ranked right now. I definitely agree with that. And for a guy to be a first-year starter and to be a 3-star right now, that's pretty good. You know, and you gotta mind you, this is a grade that I'm giving him based off last season's film, mostly, and then some off-season stuff. Going into this next season, he could easily be a 4-star guy because some of these attributes here. Here, let me go ahead and pause this and then show you the rubric that I'm working with here. Okay. Can you see that? Let me move. Oh. Let me move my box. Because I'm in the way. Okay. Alright, some of these attributes here, like arm power, scramble ability, mechanics, well, maybe not mechanics, but arm power, scramble ability. Those are just pure athleticism stuff. Some guys are going to work the hardest they can throughout their whole life, honestly, and they may never be able to throw the ball as hard as Jazel Riley, or they may not ever be able to run the way Jazel Riley does, breaking a million tackles and then still hitting that 4.6 speed and hopping on out of there. Some guys are going to work super hard and just never hit that. And so to be this gifted, athletically, that's huge. Then you throw in things like overall mechanics, smooth passer. You throw in things like decision making. He ain't going to do too much. He is going to force some things if he feels like he really needs to, but he's also a first-year varsity starter, so you could chill out on that. Pocket awareness. Knowing what's going on around you, knowing what your play is, and knowing what the defense is running. Sometimes you can't teach that. These are things that I am very high on. You look at some of these grades, they are very good. I'm looking at stuff like timing and arm accuracy. I'm going to be honest, it depends what system they run over at Golden. Honestly, it does. It depends what kind of throws they're asking him to make. It depends what kind of routes his receivers are running. It depends how much work his receivers are putting in this offseason as well. I know they have a running back in Summers, I believe, over there, and he's a nice guy, but you probably don't want your running back to be your primary receiving option. It's never a great, recipe for success. Not on this level in Colorado. So there you go. But other than that, he could definitely bump up to a 4-star, and I would not be surprised at all. I do need to see some more things here. Need to see him complete a couple more throws. I want to see him in some pretty specific matchups going into next year, hopefully. And so we'll see about that. But Jazel Riley, what a sleeper. Like I said, just got his 3 stars literally this last week here. Had an excellent, and excellent performance at the Elite 11. You love to see that, And so now it comes down to, all right, let's see your senior year. I think a lot of colleges are waiting on offering on this kid because they want to see what he does in his senior year. He's facing arguably more adversity going into his senior year than he did his junior year, which is wild, losing a head coach and all that stuff. And so we'll see. We'll definitely see. I do want to throw out this quick comparison here. I can't even take credit for this. So here, let me check the stream real quick here. Coach Wes, Ryan, if you're watching this, man, from Prep Red Zone, this is all you, and I agree with it. But we compared Jazel Riley to the starting quarterback for Arkansas, the University of Arkansas, KJ Jefferson. He looks like and this is what he said, but he looks like maybe definitely a slightly smaller version of KJ Jefferson. KJ, he's like 6'3", 245 pounds. Jazel, I mean, he's like 6'2", and closer to 200 pounds. But playing style, running style for sure. I see it in the running style for sure. And then just that overall ability to push it downfield and just expose defenses vertically. They play very similarly, and so I definitely have to agree with that. Now, am I going to call Jazel Riley like an SEC type of quarterback right now? Probably not. I need to see one more year, honestly. I do need to see one more year before I put my own reputation out there. Now, do I think he has the potential to get there? Sure, but a lot could happen in the season, so we'll see about that. I think Jazel Riley is probably, if he was to graduate and just leave high school right now, he's probably an FCS quarterback, like a starter for a lot of teams, maybe a guy that you kind of sit for a year or two. I'm looking at Northern Colorado, by the way, who I know has a McCaffrey out there, Dylan McCaffrey, who has one more year. And I'm just saying, it'd be kind of cool. It'd be kind of cool to see Jazel Riley out there, learn from McCaffrey and then take over. Because I think he'd automatically be the most athletic quarterback out there, probably. So, oh my God, throwing in with Bryce Vaz too, that'd be crazy. That'd be crazy. So, we'll see. I think this senior year will be really big for Jazel Riley. I think you could probably expect him to get a couple of offers from now until the start of his senior year. If he doesn't, that's fine. Go ball out. Focus on the season. Try to make a run at state. Do your best. Because, you did lose to the eventual state champs. So it wasn't like it was that much out of your control here. But, do your thing there. And then I could definitely see him as somebody that a lot of guys come December, a lot of colleges, I need a quarterback, who's around, who's still available, who hasn't committed yet. I think he's somebody that could easily gain 5 to 10 offers in a couple weeks in December, depending on how the season went. But also, you could gain a couple offers before then. We'll just have to see. He's definitely a sleeper, one of the more athletic quarterbacks in the entire country. I think if you're a college coach out there, you look into this kid and you keep tabs on him, and, if you want to get a step on recruiting, offer him. I don't think he has an offer, so who's going to be the first one to offer him? Who's going to be the first loyal? So we'll just have to see about that. But there you go. That's Jazel Riley's film breakdown. Like I said, great kid. All I hear is good things about dude, honestly. All I hear is good things about dude, which is always a good thing. Because there's some players that are jerks and whatnot and probably don't deserve those, you know who I'm talking about if you followed this podcast enough. But they don't deserve the offers they get. So, there you go. But that's Jazel Riley, the fourth, JR4. Let's go ahead and switch it up here. We're going to talk, well, not too much though. We're going to talk about another class of 2023 quarterback. If you're not recruiting Jazel Riley, you for sure should offer this kid, or at least look into offering this kid. And that is Richard Stallworth from Arizona here, specifically from Yuma Catholic, Arizona. Shout out to my boy, Zach Kleineroo. He gave me kind of the lowdown on this area and on Arizona football a little bit here. So he is a 3A football player. I'm just going to throw that out there. And so, personally, I don't care. I think he's still a great quarterback. So it doesn't matter if he's 3A, 2A, whatever. He's still an excellent quarterback here. And actually, let me show his Twitter first before we talk about, his stats. Because I think his stats is arguably one of the strongest things in his game. But here, let me grab a quick drink here, and then we'll get started. Okay, so Richard Stallworth here, quarterback out of Yuma Catholic in Yuma, Arizona, I assume. 6'2", 205, like I said, class of 2023 quarterback. Also number 4, like Jazel Riley. That's really interesting. I did not mean to do that on on person. I did not mean to do that when putting together this live stream. They both just happened to be number 4 here. But, yeah, kind of a similar build to Jazel too at 6'2", 205. That's real interesting. Has a 4.3 GPA. Oh, my Lord. Jesus. And I think that's actually because he's taken a couple AP classes, but that's real good. This dude is smart, you know. He'll be accepted to pretty much any college, probably. So that's one less thing you got to worry about as a coach. I know some recruiters, man, you know, there's a talented quarterback. You'd love to offer him, but there's always that question of, is he going to be accepted into the school? And that probably gives a lot of coaches anxiety. I'm not even going to lie. So there you go. Let's look at this graphic that Richard has put out here. Can you see that whole thing? You can see part of it. I'll scroll down here in a minute. Here, let me scroll down right now. So, like you said, junior honors AP classes. Love to see it. 4.14 GPA. I'm sure that boosts some of these. That boost comes from some of these classes, so that's big time. 6'2", 210. Believe it. High football IQ. From what I've seen so far, this dude is a smart quarterback, so that's good. You know, it looks like the head coach is his pops or someone that's related to him, so that's real interesting there. But you have the contact info. Junior season, so he is a 2-year starter. Started as a sophomore. I think he had a little bit of a shorter season as a sophomore in Arizona, like most teams, you know, around the country do. But as a junior, he broke a lot of records. First off, 3A Player of the Year. Congrats. You know, that's big time. Threw for 4,863 passing yards, which is an Arizona record, all time, by the way. 67 passing touchdowns. He threw 67 of those. Also, you know, threw in 4 rushing touchdowns. But he had basically 71 touchdowns to 10 interceptions, 10 turnovers. I don't know how many fumbles he had, but we'll just say 67 touchdowns to 10 picks. That's not bad. That basically means every 6 touchdowns, almost 7 touchdowns, he's throwing 1 pick. 1 pick on the high school level. That's wild, honestly. Very good completion percentage here at 67. Love to see that. That's basically on par. 130.8 QB rating. Did go to state this last year. Fell very, very short, like literally within a touchdown. And so we'll look into that game just a little bit here later. But that's pretty big time. So a very good junior season. Oh, he does have his sophomore season here as well. Number 1 in Arizona in passing yards. Number 1 in Arizona in passing touchdowns. Also had 5 touchdowns. Also threw 10 interceptions. So 10 interceptions through both seasons. Usually 10 picks is a little bit of a red flag. But with the amount of times he's throwing it compared to the touchdowns, I don't care. This dude is throwing 50 touchdowns to 10 picks. That's okay, you know. Also was a state runner-up. I believe they actually lost to the same team, which, oof, is tough. Because as I was told, they are, Snowflake is definitely like the Valor Christian of schools, I guess. Kind of a rich mountain town is what he said, like Vail here in Colorado. So there you go. Hey, go ahead and give my guy a quick follow here, man. Let's boost these followers just a little bit here. But you know, he does not, or sorry, he does have 1 offer. Let me go ahead and go to media here. He has 1 offer that I saw. He has been recruited by a couple people. Skull Buffs. You have Colorado coming after him. You know, you have he visited Arizona right here. Minot or Minot, Minot, whatever. Minot State. They've you know, sent him some stuff. You know, but I believe his 1 offer was from Adams State, which is actually here in Colorado, which is really interesting. I don't know why I can't find it here. It's definitely, he definitely got offered by Adams State. I'm not going crazy. Here we go. So this is his first offer from Adams State. That is a D2, which is not bad. You know, it's still college, but I think he's a little bit more talented than that. You know, just a little bit. Nothing crazy, right? All right, let's look at his stats here. Let's start with the varsity here. So, Jesus. 4,863 passing yards, 67 touchdowns, 10 picks. Look at some of these big games here. Like, if you look at all these games and then look at this last game, the state championship game against Snowflake, this isn't even that bad of a game. 15 of 28, still over 50%, 141 yards. Had that one interception there, so that's, also had a rushing, or here, let me scroll down a little bit. Yep, also had a rush for 9 yards. Not even bad. They lost by touchdown. I think, this probably goes without saying, but going into next year, man, I think the big question is going to be, can they beat Snowflake and win state? I think so far, Richard Stallworth here, man, has had an excellent, and I mean excellent, he's had an excellent high school football career so far, but I think, winning a state championship would go a long way. But I would probably even still offer him before, because just looking at these numbers, man, for almost 5,000 yards, 67 touchdowns, 10 picks here. Let me drop some knowledge on y'all real quick here. Also, 0 fumbles. There you go. Okay, I just saw it in the chat. 0 fumbles. That's what I thought, so he's good. But let me drop some quick knowledge on y'all, because here's the deal. Arizona is, they're good at football. that goes without saying. They have had a couple players, a lot of quarterbacks, go play D1. Brock Purdy, first off, he was Mr. Irrelevant, so congrats to him. But he got drafted, and so he's going to do his things with the Niners. He's an Arizona quarterback. You obviously have the big one, Spencer Rattler. Obviously did not quite work out at Oklahoma. Is probably going to work out at South Carolina. We'll see about that. But he's another great quarterback. Richard Stallworth is, and I don't think this is even that crazy to say right now, is the best quarterback in Arizona. And he has one offer from Adams State. So here's where I'm at, as somebody that's kind of part of media, I do have connections with college coaches, but I am mostly part of media. If I'm a college coach, I'm like, the best quarterback in Arizona, yeah, I'll go ahead and give him a scholarship. Look at the other best quarterbacks in Arizona. Jack Miller, that's another one I almost forgot. You have all these quarterbacks from Arizona, and I really, really think, from some of the film I've seen, from the stats, he's the next great Arizona quarterback. So here, I realized I said I was going to drop some stats on you, but I haven't quite done that yet. So as of right now, he is the all-time, maybe all-time is the wrong word to use, but when it comes to passing yards in a single season, he is the all-time leader. He's number one, threw for 4,863 passing yards. The next guy is Anthony Hernandez from Desert Edge. Back in 2013, he threw for 4,662. So there you go. He was about 201 yards over that. So that's big time. That's a record he already has. He claimed, touchdown passes in a single season by Gage Reese back in 2018. Actually, from Yuma Catholic. That's ironic. I did not notice that. But Gage here, the starter before Richard, he threw for 64 touchdowns. Rich here obviously threw for 67 touchdowns. That's pretty good. Now passing yards in a game, I believe, at least for maybe the 3A level, he has to have tied it, because I believe it's like either 7 or 8, and he's thrown for both. Well, okay, Jesus, let me scroll down just a little bit here. But you see this here? Let me move this over. You see this little span in the playoffs here? Starting against Kingman, I think this is October 22nd, 7 touchdowns. Next week, Wickenburg, 7 touchdowns. Payson, 7 touchdowns. Round Valley, 8 touchdowns. This is right before state. To get into state, you threw 2 touchdowns. So some of these games are playoff games where he is popping off. And not only is he beating these teams, but he's beating the out of these teams, honestly. And so that's wild. So that's another record he possesses as well. Now some upcoming records that he might get. Let me go to career here. So on his career, throwing for 8,666 passing yards. Let me move this over. Oh, wait, no, touchdowns is right there. Whoops, I almost missed it. And then has thrown for 116 passing touchdowns. Passing career. So this is all-time in Arizona. The guy with the most amount of passing yards in a career, Hey, Spencer Rattler, a 5-star quarterback back in his day. From 2015 to 2018, threw for 11,083 passing yards. Right now, he is at 8,606 passing yards. So he needs 300, or not 300, 3,000 passing yards to go ahead and break Spencer Rattler's record, and that'll be his. And it might even be by a little bit more, because his first year as a starter, back in 2020, he threw for a casual 3,803 passing yards. So if he could do that as his first year, and then throw for 4,000, basically 1,000 more yards the next year, then he could probably throw for 3,000 passing yards. And so he's on pace to break Spencer Rattler's record. That's huge. Yeah, there you go. Completions, attempts. I'm not gonna go ahead, or actually no, it's right here. Yeah, I will. You know what? I will go ahead and talk about completions and attempts, because I think he's in the running. Let me move my box though. Okay. Pass completions, 764. That one. Those are completions, by the way. Held by Spencer Rattler, 2015 to 2018. He also leads, attempts with 1,228. Right here, 800 passing attempts, 531 completions. He's about 200 off. 230 off. That's another record that he could potentially break by the end of his senior year. Passing touchdowns. This one is the one passing career record not held by Spencer Rattler, which, I don't think I don't know how close he was to this one, to be honest with you. But this one is held by Chase Cord from Sunrise Mountain, 137 passing touchdowns. He is at 116, so he literally needs a third of the touchdowns he threw this year to break that one. What are colleges doing right now? Oh my God. You gotta offer this kid. If you're just looking at stats, you gotta offer him, right? I think that's what I meant to say there. But the film doesn't lie either. You gotta be kind of good to be able to, rack up some of these records and be on pace to rack up some of these records. He's on pace to break almost all of Spencer Rattler's records. The wild thing is, Spencer Rattler might be erased from the record book because of Richard Stallworth. A 5-star quarterback might be erased from a record book because of this kid, who has no stars, by the way. So there you go, 24/7. I'm doing your job for you. But let's go ahead and look at his film, man. Like I said, I started a little bit of it here. We'll go back to the beginning. But let's look at his film. We'll watch the whole thing in 17 minutes. This dude threw like 60, 70 touchdowns. So ain't no big surprises here. Let me move myself over here. We'll react to the film. I might do a little bit of grading here, but we'll react to the film here, because this dude was, phenomenal. So here we go. Boom. What a strong, jeez, he ripped that one too. So obviously, if you're a quarterback throwing for a crazy amount of touchdowns, you gotta run the spread. And you know me, I love spread quarterbacks, man. Spread is the future. That's the basics of next level football. So if you're running wing T or whatever the hell, that ain't gonna cut it, bruh. To play on the next level, you gotta at least know how to run the spread. Jeez, what a beautiful, good. Okay, let's run that back real quick. Here. Is this the play or is it the next play? It is this play right here. Okay. Corner. Safeties. This looks like cover 2, and it's man as well, because everyone's manned up right here. This safety is looking at the quarterback. Obviously, he's playing this receiver because everyone else is on this side of the field. And plus, it's not his responsibility to watch this side. It's the safety right here. But this safety is literally looking at Richard here. And when he releases this, let me go back just a little bit, nothing crazy. When he releases this, he is not quite open. He's about to get a step on one of these two, but he releases it, keeping in mind that he has to run almost 15 to 20 yards to catch this. And so first off, it's a lot of trust in your receiver, but it's the right amount of trust, because look how On the money, he puts this thing right in the back of the end zone, over the corner, over the safety for a touchdown. We're going to keep this thing going because there's like 16 minutes of film. But good God, that's just I'm a better thrower than you play. I'm a better player than you play. And man, like the ability for this offense to go vertical with this kind of talent, good throw over the middle, love that, is absolutely insane. There were like 3 linemen offsides on that one. That's okay. Way to step up. Great delivery. Would have liked it a little bit closer to the sideline, but that's okay. Way to step up and deliver a good ball. Catchable ball. Nice little out route right here. You really put some power on that too. Oh my God. In time. I wish this receiver stood up though. Or stayed up. Over the middle. Can't fault it. Can't fault it. Oh my God. Good accuracy. Whoa, what a good throw. You had to aim for the sideline. You just had to. Just one-on-one. Easy read here. Way to get the ball out quick. Kind of a quicker release too. A little bit of a wind-up, but that's okay. Say a little bit, but it's not. I think this dude makes up for it with his throwing power. Oh, accurate throw. That wasn't even bad defense. Woo! Wow, he was getting tripped. I can't stop it because I wanna make sure I don't go over my time. But good way to step up and deliver a great ball. He's strong enough where he's getting hit and the ball is still on time. Way to roll out here. Had to stop a little bit, but he was also under pressure. I don't blame it. That was not a dangerous throw. He was open. Good throw right here. Quick little intermediate route. You see a lot of those in this offense. They do go I. Yup. Way to outrun the defensive tackle. Hopefully you can outrun a defensive tackle. Good job. That's not supposed to come out shade. That's something not a lot of quarterbacks are able to do. Or some quarterbacks are not able to do. I shouldn't say not a lot. These out routes are his bread and butter, and I like that a lot. Obviously, that's a bread and butter of any spread, but there's some quarterbacks that don't throw that ball as much as they should, and not accurately either. It's also good scheming by the coach. I'm going to give him credit. Oh, could have been a little bit ahead. He had to stop for that. That's okay. We just step up, step into this throw, really step into this throw. These quick slant routes, man, that's just excellent timing. Oh, I don't know. I wouldn't have thrown that, but good play by the receiver, I'm going to be honest. He's hitting some of these comebacks too, man. Oh, this is wide. Man, this is a good play by the receiver. Another thing I'm looking for when I'm evaluating is how much work is the receiver doing. Because he could have like 3 or 2 D1 guys. But a lot of these deep throws, man, are making up huge chunks of these passing percentages for sure, though. Ooh, that's a hard throw to make on the run. He had to come back. I mean, it's a comeback route, so obviously he had to. But that's a good throw. Now, this is a touchdown throw on what looks like a comeback route. Don't see those every day. That angle was weird. I don't know if that was a comeback or an out. That's okay. Oh, a little. Hey, that corner could have jumped that. Just a little ballsy there, but that's okay. No offers, huh? I might need to look at his film later. Okay, I was waiting for a fade route though, because I was like, he's had to have thrown the fade. But that's a good ball. Good job stepping up and delivering. This is going to be on time. Well, his base was a little wide there. But that's okay. Here we go. Okay. So I'm seeing D2, D3 offers from some of these receivers. Still next level guys probably, but maybe not quite. Maybe not quite a Power 5 guy. That's okay. Oh, he was kind of staring down that receiver. If he didn't move over to the safety, which was the right move, that corner wouldn't have backed out like that. Timing on these short routes are impeccable, though. Which is the bare minimum. Good throw. I like it. I could dig it. Kind of wish that running back was looking the other way and picked up that block. That would have been a good opportunity to step up. Quick low swing route here. Oh man, it's a good catch. Oh, one of his rushing touchdowns. There you go. So if I did have to nitpick here, wouldn't exactly call him a dual threat, but that's okay. He plays quarterback, so you don't need to be. But would like to see him maybe scramble a little bit more. Like I said, it's not really a priority. I'm more nitpicking than anything. He's an excellent thrower. He could, when he has the time, I mean, he could rip off pretty much any deep throw you want. And the way he maneuvers in this pocket is pretty next level too. I like that a lot as well. Another out route. Here we go. Ooh, couple nifty moves. Oh, beautiful. Way to keep your eyes downfield and buy yourself time too. Nice. That had to be the throw. You had to stop your receiver from colliding with that safety. Could have pushed that closer to the sideline, but that's okay. Oh, that's a tough throw to make. Ooh, a little throw on the run action. He's mobile enough. That's honestly what matters sometimes. You don't gotta be Lamar Jackson, but you gotta be mobile enough to not be a stick in the ground. Good job there. Great timing. Got it right into his receiver hands for that. Right as he turned around. A little bit. A little. He could have waited a minute there. Oh, is he gonna? Ooh! That's an accurate throw. Good looks here. Oof, that's a little pitch back. Okay. It's really interesting. They run a lot of these outs in the red zone, which I don't hate. You know, if you could scheme him open, screw it. Get an easy touchdown. But the number of out routes I've seen go for touchdowns, and it's not even the receiver breaking it off, it's just them getting schemed open, is excellent. Way to get your feet right. And then delivering a good pass right here. Nothing, you don't even have to be flashy. Just get your feet right and then deliver it. Oh, I would have looked at that. I think it was a post route there. But that's okay. A little ambitious with some throws. Other than that, he does make a lot of good decisions, especially when he's under pressure, which is something you love to see out of your quarterback. Some quarterbacks, I mean, they can't really riff or play off script like that. They fall apart, and it shows, you know, that they're not used to playmaking when things are just a little crazy. Would love to see a couple more of these little jump ball fade route throws, though. Not jump ball throws. Don't be hunting those matchups, but like fade route throws is what I meant. Accurate throw here. That's a tight throw. Good job. Could have had a little bit more juice on that, but that's okay. Oh my god, man! When his mechanics are right and I think he has a little bit of a habit of having his base a little wide at times, especially when he's maneuvering around. But when his base is right, he'll take off the top on any play. Like these throw on the runs. Good throw here. Another little thing over the middle. So far over the middle, we're seeing a lot of slay routes, a lot of drag routes. Would love to see more digs. That's not a bad ball to throw, but he was definitely hunting that matchup. You could tell he is right here. And sometimes that's okay, but you could look him open too. Oh, jeez, he's a well-balanced football player. Not getting knocked down right there. That was a bad angle by the DB. He was wide open. That's alright. Would have pushed that closer to the sideline, but that's okay. Because he was sitting on it, so you gotta be ready. Nah, throw on the run is definitely the strength of his. Man, he's just agile enough to go ahead and make somebody miss and then deliver a fantastic throw. Makes the right reads too when things are falling apart. This little post route is God, he could hit it if it's open. Little post corner, love to see that. Or it looked like a post corner. I don't know if it was, but it looked like one. Another instant of just throwing his receiver open. So, I mean, you know, slant route, it's 101. DB was playing too far off. Good job here. If you could have put a little bit more juice to it, though. That was a weird route ran by the receiver. Okay. I'm going to start typing in grades, but I'm going to let this play out here. Because I am... Oh, it's almost done. Because I'm pretty positive on a lot of these grades for Richard Stallworth here. I'm pretty positive. Oh, so. Let me play this. Alright. A lot of film to look at, which is good. You know, obviously I'm not going to be able to make it out to Arizona, or probably not to watch some of these games, but I love to see the film, love to see him just run, you know, his offense, the spread offense, and it looks, obviously he did a good job here. If he didn't, then he wouldn't have made it to state, or through for like, you know, 70 touchdowns, but pretty good job here. Alright, I'm going to go ahead and mute up here, and then type in some of these grades so y'all enjoy these highlights. All right, let's talk about it, man. Here, let me start these highlights from the beginning, and then we'll talk about it. So, as these things go, 10 categories, ratings 1 to 10. You know, if you want to look for a breakdown of how we do our ratings, you can look at what I said earlier on in the stream, honestly. So, there you go. But here, let me move this over. Okay. So arm power, I don't question his arm power at all. I think he has a very strong arm. There are some throws, man, where like he is muscling this thing, man, and he's like rifling it to tough spots. This play right here, when he throws it deep, is super impressive to me. I mean, it looks real effortless. I mean, look, I'm not worried about his arm power at all. I think he has the arm power of a 4-star, maybe even 5-star quarterback. So I gave him a 9.4. I think he's kind of on the edge. The reason it's probably not higher is because I have seen stronger arms, and there are also times where I feel like he could push the ball a little bit farther, but maybe he's aiming a little bit or the timing's just slightly off. It's really just the accuracy. And so I would like, I'll talk about how he could improve that, but I'd like to see a little bit more consistency at times, especially when he's maneuvering around. That's what I'm talking about. That's when his arm power feels like it's just not as good as it is, obviously, when he's like, set and throwing. Because he'll maneuver around and set, but the arm power is just not quite the same. So there you go, 9.4 though. Just very good in general. I'm not worried about it at all. Accuracy, gave him an 8.3. There are some times where he throws some extremely accurate throws, man. Extremely accurate. Especially deep as well. But then there are times where, it's a little bit behind. In some of these short throws, you see that. Or on some of these throws where he's maneuvering around and then he's trying to find a comeback route or something like that. It's a little behind or something. Or on some of these deep throws as well. And so I think I just want to see a little bit more consistency. That's why I'm giving it an 8.3. I think that's still fair. That's still pretty good. That's that's a 3-star quarterback, basically when it comes to accuracy. But I think his arm power makes up for a lot of it, so I'm not even tripping like that. So there you go. Timing out those, some of the best I've ever seen, honestly. Gave him an 8.8. I think he's real close to a 4-star talent when it comes to that. Not a 5-star, but definitely a high 3-star, 4-star when it comes to timing, especially on some of these comeback routes. Deep routes for the most part, I would say 85% to 80% of the time. If it's a deep throw, it's on time, or even when he's maneuvering around, there are times where he still throws it on time, and it's just perfect, because the receiver's turning around, ball's there, boom, there you go, and so love the timing on his throws, especially on these out routes, especially on these short routes. If you're a college coach, timing is everything. If you want to be a starter on the next level, timing is definitely everything. And you got to be able to run the bread and butter of a lot of these college offenses, which are spread-based. So we're talking comeback routes, hitch routes, slants, out routes. Those are the basics, really, And so he has shown the ability to easily run that. And so I ain't even really tripping about that. Reason maybe it's not higher. Timing when he's, like I said, after he's maneuvering around could be a little bit off. And then there are times where he's just dropping back and it's just slightly off in general. So, there you go. But very good timing in general. 8.8. There you go. Overall mechanics and fluidity, I think, were some of his, accuracy issues at times. Not all the time, but at times. And some of his, timing as well. If there are some, would come from mechanics and fluidity. I gave him an 8. It's still pretty solid. He does a good job getting the ball out, engages his body, does all that stuff. I do think there are times where he does have a little bit of a wide base. And so if you have a wider base or a narrow base, that usually takes some juice off the ball. And there are times where, base is perfect, boom, he's going to put all the juice in the world on it. And then there are times where, the ball, it doesn't quite, come out with the same amount of juice throughout a game. And a lot of the time when, this base is a little off is when he's rolling out what just happened here, or when he's maneuvering around, making people miss, and finding a guy. His base tends to be a little bit wider. That's kind of something I noticed. In general, it's just a little wide. And so, you could probably tweak that a little bit here. That's kind of me being nitpicky. And then as well, I think he doesn't have the longest windup in the world, but it could be faster, I think. I've seen faster releases that are a little bit smoother. and whatnot. And so just overall, a couple of tweaks here and there. I think that's really what it comes down to when it comes to mechanics. Could change some of these things. 8 is kind of a tougher grade, but I think it's valid. It's still pretty good. I don't think you gotta throw out the entire look right here. A little overthrown. If that safety was remembering, if that safety was paying attention, it would have been okay. But what was I saying? Yeah, mechanics. I mean, obviously that's just what it is. Tweaking little things here and there. I'm definitely being nitpicky, but that's just how it be when it comes to mechanics. So could be a little bit quicker, honestly. Could be a little bit quicker, and then I'd like to see that base be a little bit more consistent. So yeah, scramble ability. Look, I don't think I've seen him move around. Like get out into open field. Sadly, I don't think he really runs a 4.5. Maybe like a late 4.6, probably closer to a 4.8, 4.7, if anything. But we really just didn't see a lot of scrambling. And honestly, if he could have done it, like if he could do it, then he would have, because he's running the spread. It helps having a scrambling quarterback. You have some design runs here, but I don't really think he's a dual threat. I would probably classify him more as a strong arm guy anyways, and that is fine. And so scrambling ability, I just gave him a 6. Not bad though, because he could still get out, and move around and make people miss, and probably do that on the next level too. So there you go. Now let me talk about some of these other things that kind of make up for that scrambling ability. Throw on the run, it's easily one of the best I've seen. So I gave him a solid 9.1. I think he's about at a 4-star with that. He delivers really good throws when he's running around and throwing kind of off platform, and he's shown. I think this is the thing that separates him from some other quarterbacks. He's shown that he could throw on the run, that he could run and then throw it like 50 yards downfield or something crazy like that, and really not blink. He'll do it. Like, he'll maneuver around and then throw a bomb on you. And to have that ability, not every quarterback does. Most of the time, you kind of got to be given a good gift when it comes to slinging this thing, and so, that's why it's probably not a little bit higher, but usually very accurate, and also on time too, when throwing on the run, so you love to see that. Pocket awareness and movement, I think these two are hand in hand. Look, awareness gave him a 9.2, movement gave him a 9.3. When it comes to awareness, he knows where the pressure is coming from, and he knows where the pressure is coming from is because he's moving away from it. And he's anticipating defenders coming at him from different spots, and then he goes ahead and makes a move. Makes somebody miss. And you see him do this quite a lot. He does a really good job stepping up in the pocket and just being efficient, just like right here. Sidestepping, throws a little dig route. Well, it ended up being a dig route, basically. And then right here as well, making this throw right here, he steps around. He does a good job maneuvering this pocket, So I'm not tripping about it at all, really. His pocket movement's nice. And his awareness, it looks like he understands where the pressure's coming from, and that's really good. Just from some of the small movements he does, that he could sense that pressure. And then also, just like this though, not afraid to go ahead, stay in strong, and take a hit, and, deliver the throw. But he's not going to do that too much. He's not going to do that like a crazy amount or whatever and feel like he needs to stand there and deliver the throw. He's going to buy himself time if he legitimately feels like buying himself time would, allow him to not get lit up. Just like right here, scrambling outruns the defender. Like I said, maybe not Lamar Jackson, but he does just enough to be mobile. So that's why his awareness and movement is up there. And I'm pretty picky when it comes to awareness and movement, but I really like his pocket movement. He moves well, moving up and down and then laterally as well. So absolutely love that. And then, obviously, he's not just moving just to move. He's moving with intention, for sure. And that comes with awareness. So there you go. Frame and size, gave him the same as Jazel Riley because they're basically at the same frame and size. 6'2", 205. Seems a little bit more top-heavy, but I don't care. I'm just going to be honest with you. I don't think it matters. But he definitely has a frame that could hold up on the next level. So if he's taking like a million hits and the college doesn't have a great O-line, then you could definitely take him and not be out for the season. So So yeah, that's pretty good. But overall grade, I actually gave him a higher grade than Jazel Riley here because I do think he's just a Stallworth here is just kind of a better passer, a smoother passer. And so I gave him an 85.1. Jazel had an 83.1. Look, here, I'll let this play out here. But here's the deal with Richard Stallworth here. I think if you are a college coach, you look at this kid and you're like, okay, you can't run read options with him. Not really, because he's not like he's not gonna average like 50 rushing yards a game or whatever on the next level. He doesn't even do that on this level, But he's a good spread quarterback. Strong arm, maneuvers the pocket well, relatively makes good decisions, and he gets the ball to his receivers when it matters. And when everything is breaking down and he's getting blitzed and it's chaotic in the pocket and the defense is doing their best to be just chaotic and disruptive, he is calm, cool, and collected, and he does a relatively good job. Now, if I am a college coach, though, I'm looking at this, I'm like, okay, well, here's the thing, 3A football in Arizona, I mean, it's not like, those big 5 schools or whatever schools in Arizona like Chandler, Hamilton, all that, like Pinnacle. He doesn't come from one of those schools, and he's not playing that kind of competition. So you do kind of got to keep that in mind. And so I could see where some hesitancy is, but when you just watch this dude, though, it's like, okay, bro has a cannon, He also does a good job manipulating the pocket as well when things are breaking down around him. So I would probably offer him because I don't know how many other quarterbacks could do that. There are a lot of quarterbacks that do that, but I think really for Stallworth here, continue to work on that mental game. Decision making to give him an 8.5. I think, honestly, to take your game to the next level and separate yourself from other quarterbacks with strong arms or who do similar things that may not be as athletic, start looking off safeties. Start manipulating defenses. And he does do that a little bit in his film. You see like flashes of that throughout his film. But I would say, hey, obviously, if you have a good matchup or not with your receivers and DBs. That's obvious. But to be a next level guy, you want to look those guys open. You don't want them to, you don't want defenses to, attract or to a receiver that you're trying to go to. Make it a one-on-one situation. If possible, make every throw a one-on-one situation, if possible. Now obviously you can't always do that. Things are breaking apart around you and could be pretty chaotic. But if possible, look your receivers open for a one-on-one situation. Because legitimately, I feel like he could pretty much make every throw. If it's one-on-one, he could make the throw. He's shown that he could do that. That's his bread and butter. But to take your game to the next level and show like, yo, I'm a smart dude as well. Watch me manipulate this defense into doing exactly what I want. That's what's going to separate him, And then obviously winning state over Snowflake. As a career goal, you lost to these guys 2 years in a row in state. Eventually, they got to lose. Beating somebody 3 times is a lot harder than beating somebody 1 time for the culture. You know what I mean? So, I think winning state would go a long way in his recruitment. And then, obviously doing camps as well. You want to do those, get out there, go to Elite 11, perform well there. I think that's where you could really showcase, your passing ability. His timing is pretty good most of the time. I think I'm a little worried about his accuracy at times. There are times where it's like, it could be a little off, and that's okay. And half the time it's because he's looking like he's hunting a matchup, and that's okay. That's being a smart quarterback. You're hunting the right matchup. You're trying to get it to guys who are going to win, who are going to win their matchups. But at the same time, you got to look these guys open, throw accurate balls, and do that consistently. And so we'll see. We'll see about Richard Stallworth. Obviously rooting for this dude. Offered by Adams State, but I really do think he's a D1 guy. I look at him and I'm like, okay, he could probably play at an FBS school. I could see him play at an FBS school. Most likely, he will have to redshirt and then maybe even wait another year or two, depending on the situation at that specific school. I think that would be the accurate thing that would happen, just because I think coaches are gonna wonder, what is 3A football in Arizona like? Like, how well is that gonna translate into what we run here at D1? FBS or FCS. If he goes to an FCS, he could start for a couple of teams probably, or at least compete, after his redshirt season for sure. But definitely somebody that might need to sit, learn the playbook, and then when you roll him out, you just kind of gotta hope he runs your system well. Well, you hope that with other quarterbacks, but I think the bare minimum, run the system, no turnovers. I think if possible, even going into this year, this would help him out a bit. Try to throw for under 10 interceptions. Try, and if it doesn't work out, then it doesn't work out. Don't worry about it too much. But it's not a bad goal to have. To try to get under 10 interceptions. It shows that you're improving as a player if you do that. Obviously, like I said, I don't care if you're throwing 60 touchdowns. It's still 60 touchdowns. I'd be more worried if it was 60 touchdowns to 20 picks, to be honest with you. But 10, you live with that. So here's his final grade here. I think this is pretty fair. I mean, this is a kind of more or less a raw reaction. There are times where I'll look at it and I'll look at his film over and over again, try to find some game film, and I'll tweak it. But I think this is probably a pretty close representation of his game. Probably. It is, in my opinion. But that's my opinion. So there you go. Strong arm quarterback. Could play in a lot of different systems, traditional ones, spreads, air raids for sure. I think that would definitely help him out too. Could play in a lot of different systems, and so you like to see that going to this next year. I mean, it will be his third year as a starter. You kind of know what he does as a quarterback. I think the biggest thing will be like, all right, where's he at mentally? Where's he at mentally? Is he going to lead this team over that hump? And if he doesn't, how does that game look? How does he look in defeat? And sometimes how a player looks in defeat is more telling how they look in victory. So we'll see. And, sometimes how they react to defeat says more than how they react to victory, right? So we'll see about that. But honestly, all the best to Richard Stallworth here, man. He's a talent. He's somebody that a lot of teams would love to have. A lot of teams look at this kid and they're like, okay, let me start him, or let me give him a chance. Let me throw him out there and just see what happens, So we'll see. But best of luck to him. Best of luck to Jazel Riley the fourth as well. That'll basically wrap up this episode of the Playmakers Corner podcast. Thank you so much for rocking with us. A rare Saturday live stream. We'll be trying to do more of these, just breaking down film and whatnot of some of these great players. If you haven't yet, go ahead and follow us on Twitch. We are really close to affiliate. We are getting there. Hoping to get there by the end of May, basically. That's a really big goal. That'd be big for us. It would help us with money, too. I'm just going to be honest with you. But, yeah, so follow us on Twitch. Subscribe to our YouTube channel. This whole stream will be on there. So if you're watching, this stream on our YouTube channel, go ahead and like this video. Subscribe to that. And then follow us on social media. That's Playmakers Corner on Facebook, TikTok, Instagram, Twitter. All that great stuff for updates, for TikToks. We'll probably make TikToks of these breakdowns as well. But, yeah, thank you so much for rocking with us. Have a great Saturday. Happy belated Mother's Day. And we will, or I guess not belated because today's Saturday. Happy early Mother's Day. And you know what? We will catch you later. Hope you're doing well.